Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Kickoffs. We've been talking about that for a couple of weeks. Braden back in. What goes into going back and forth there?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do a lot with the game plan. Some has to do with the weather. At times the weather favors one of the others, but when you have two opportunity to use two kickers, obviously it kind of puts the other team a little bit in a bind. Like they may have one return because one guy goes one way, then you trot somebody else out there, kind of messes with their game plan. So again, when we have the luxury of having two guys to do it, it only benefits us, I think. But again, I know, going out there, I think the next question will be who will be out there on Sunday. We'll make that decision as the week goes on, and whoever's going to give us the best ability to advance in these playoffs.
Where do you feel like Jake is going into the postseason?
Yeah, I think Jake, being around him so much and personally just talking, I think his confidence is still very, very high in what he's doing. Obviously he missed that 39-yarder off the left hash right there, and I think he thought the wind was going to play a little bit more of a factor on the ball, but he struck the ball well in terms of that. And, he goes back, and he's always going to be his hardest critic going forward. But nice for him to come back and hit those two. They're shorter field goals, but it's also nice to see the ball go through the net right there. So he's been striking the ball well. It's not like the ball's been fluttering or barely getting there. It's just one of those things where we just got to keep the confidence that he has, that we have in him going forward. Because as we all know, it's no longer the regular season. All the points matter for us to advance in this situation in the postseason.
Consistency hasn't been at the same high level, I guess, that we've become accustomed to over the course of the regular season. What do you make of that? What's your analysis of the what?
Yeah, you almost fall victim to, he had such a high percentage the last 3 seasons, and you're like, okay, he's going out there, it's automatic, but, just like in everyday life, nothing's always given to you, so it's just for us to go back to our training and, him, just keep that confidence, hitting the right line of sight when it comes in the stadium. When he goes out there, he still goes through the same process. For us, from a coaching standpoint, making sure the offensive linemen are braced down. Green Bay, obviously, we blocked a couple kicks this year against Chicago, against LA. So for us to make sure there's a clean pocket for him and make sure our operation's been up to our standard with Rick and Braden Holden. So again, just doubling down on our fundamentals and technique, knowing that this is a very good team rolling in on Sunday, and make sure Jake has a clean pocket that he's able to perform at his highest ability.
What could have been done, if anything, to stop that fake punt?
Yeah, we got just a little out leverage right there. It was identified by Tristan and EJ, but just like a defensive game plan, like when you lose the edge and they get around the corner, you never want to lose that edge. You want to make sure you can box it back in to everybody else right there. So for us, just identifying, the identification was there. The quick break us right there to our left, their right. We just lost the edge a little bit with Tristan and EJ. So for us, just to keep that edge, and I could do a better job as a coach in terms of the game plan going forward and helping these guys out, widening them out a little bit or loosening the edge up a little bit to deter any fake of that nature. So again, for them, they did a great job trying to react to it, but it's on me as a coach to have them identify, all right, let's get out a little bit wider to ensure there's nothing going forward, whether it's a double cadence and, them jumping off sides and us holding our edge, just like a defense. When the defense gets collapsed and gets around the edge, usually never good. It's the same thing for punt return.
What makes Keyshawn Nixon so good?
Elite speed, great vision. A little bit similar to Turpin. If you look at his kickoff returns, he kind of lulls you to sleep a little bit in that first 10 to 12 yards. Looks like he's kind of jogging. Then he hits that burst. So for us, we really got to, minimize the space he has in the running lanes, get off blocks, great block destruction, and come to the party right there like we did on the one with Turpin that he got tackled at 26, being able to eliminate those big spaces right there. But he is a fantastic kickoff return guy. I think he's a 2-time All-Pro kickoff returner, but he kind of lulls you to sleep, and he has that burst. And if you get out leveraged, we tell the guys, if you're head up, you're pretty much out of position. So we don't want to get head up. We want to keep this leveraged out. Then, get off blocks and make a secure tackle with him.
At what point in the week do you have confidence in the weather report, or are you always just consistently preparing for anything that happens?
We always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. We always have kind of an idea what it's going to be, but Mother Nature's undefeated. She could change on you just like that. I think, 2013? It looked like a clear day against Detroit. Then it was the biggest snow game of all time. So we just got prepared for all the elements out there. And, that's the great thing about being in the Northeast. You get to prepare in some heavy winds like we did last week. Thursday was a pretty heavy wind day. These next couple of days are going to be pretty heavy winds. So gets those guys mentally prepared that, you're always hoping for a clear, light wind day, but we're also prepared for a heavy wind day going forward.
How much of a factor, how much of an advantage is it, that Jake has played in these wins before, like, for the past 7 years? I mean, he kind of knows, how it works at the rink and everything. How much does that help him going into, playoffs and everything like that?
Yeah, it just leads back into the confidence, kind of understanding, the setting of it, especially like there's a big difference when, it's a day game compared to a night game. That 4:30, usually the wind starts to die down a little bit at night. So having that opportunity to understand that and understand, where the wind's coming from just off the configuration of the stadium. So for not just him, but also for Braden, in punt situations when I can, let it loose or when I have to kind of play with the wind a little bit to minimize any bad kicks. So again, it's always nice to be having that home field advantage and understanding what the wind's going to do.
In these past 4 years, you have the perspective of seeing Nick enter the postseason 4 different times under unique circumstances each time. What's either distinctive or unique about his messaging going into the postseason this year?
You know what? We still haven't had that team meeting with the guys yet, but I think his message is always going to be, the same. The stuff that got us here. Our fundamentals. Our togetherness, being tough and detailed. You don't just throw that away because you got through the regular season with it. You're going to double down on that, and he stays consistent no matter the day. Whether it's to us coaches or these players, which you got to respect, and you want to go out there and put the best foot forward from a special team standpoint, knowing the coach never changed up on you. He's always going to make sure that you're tough, detailed, and we're all together in this because that's only going to make us go further. Very fortunate to be with him these 4 years with 4 playoff appearances. And again, once you get into the playoffs, it's a little bit higher height and sense, but you never want to give up your fundamentals of what got you here. Stay down packed, stay true to that to get us forward.
What did you learn about Cooper? I know you're familiar with, obviously, what the line of questioning was going into the year about recovering from last year. You're sitting here with 14 wins, the number 2 seed. How has Nick done it? How has Nick navigated that?
I mean, I think he just believes in himself and what he preaches, and obviously it shows for with, like you said, 2 14-win seasons, and the guys in here believe it, and when those guys believe it and understand what the message is, it's only going to take us further. And we've got great talent on this team, and they don't just let their talent slide. They're out here working. We got some of the hardest working people in this business. I mean, shoot, you could start from Lane to AJ to Rick to Braden to all those guys around here. So just having the togetherness and seeing those young guys help by seeing those older guys put in the time and see what the result is. So it's always great to see that, and Nick does a great job with the messaging of it.
What did you learn about Cooper as a punt returner this year?
I think he's just gotten better and better. Obviously his first one was a rough start in Tampa Bay. Obviously some of it not his fault whatsoever. But you could just see the confidence. You can understand why he was a good returner at Iowa. He's tough. He catches the ball really well. He tracks the ball. And he just keeps getting better. He always works at practice, and it helps, having Covey out there. Amo does a great job with those returners, trying to set their line, telling them they're good, telling them, what to expect here. Tyler does a great job with telling them in the wind and pregame what's happening. But, Coop's done a really good job for us, and he kind of sneaks up on you with all, a 23-yarder or a 31-yarder. Those 15-yard returns or chunk plays, a first down and a half, which helps out against the opponent's net. So, Coop is just going to keep getting better and better, and, the guys are going to get better at have been getting better at blocking on the interior. We've seen Keeley do what he does on the outside. So to have that, confidence in the 10 guys ahead of him that they're going to block just gives him confidence to catch it and get what he can.
Yeah, he never got an opportunity, but Jahan looked pretty comfortable back there. What'd you think of him, and also Isaiah almost breaking one?
Yeah, so to start off with Jahan, he's just a smooth catcher of the ball. You see it, like, it literally looked like he was out there, just jogging to catch it. He does a great job in practice, Wednesday, Thursday, catching the ball. He's just very calm, cool, collected in there into the punt return. And, yeah, he didn't have any opportunities, but he saved. Some of those balls were dying early on him to come up, catch it. All right, cool. Net of 35, we'll take that all day then. Isaiah, we obviously know that from his time in Indianapolis, and it just happened to happen where our game plan kind of worked out knowing what the wind was going to do, kind of threw in a little different wrinkle out there. And, he hit that ball. He set it up great. Then you saw the speed he has to burn. But outside of that, there was, I would say, probably 5 guys on there that made huge blocks. You saw Johnny Wilson and Sidney on the double team. Did a great job driving their guy 25 yards. And Dallas Gant, Avante Maddox, and Tristan on a single block to really cut off that backside to give that lane. So Isaiah able to set it up, and those 5 guys really kind of let him get that 51-yarder, and it was a good thing to have going forward and keep that momentum for us going into the playoffs.
Thanks.